Going on YouTube, Cloverbills here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be honoring a tier 3 sub request to the channel, and we're going to do a little team building with Glimmora. So Glimmora is actually a really cool Pokemon this time around in Regulation F, and there's a lot of different teams that can utilize Glimmora, and it's not just Dondozo, right? You know, because up until this point, Dondozo and Tatsugiri have made great use of Glimmora, right? Because you could lead the Glimmora, get some early chip damage going with the toxic debris, and then in the end game, Dondozo can just simply clean up when everything has been chipped mightily, right? And then teams have a hard time breaking Dondozo anyway, so you know it's going to take a couple turns to break a boosted Dondozo, and by that time, the poison will have already done so much damage, you know, and then they're just not going to be able to stay on the field long enough to take care of the Dozo, right? So that's why these three have done relatively well with each other. But we're going to do a different variant today. And, you know, one thing that you can definitely do with Glimmora is lead it early with a ton of pressure, right? And this time around, it gets something that can increase that pressure with Power Herb Meteor Beam, right? This is the new thing that Glimmora has been using, and this is what's really, really good in terms of really, you know, just dealing so much damage into the meta. Like, consider Dragonite, the priorities though. Consider Dragonite, Chien-Pao, and Entei, for example, right? Like, these three, you know, they just kind of drop to Glimmora. You don't want to hit Glimmora with all these physical attacks because the toxic debris is just going to be setting and it's going to be racking up. And then all three of them are weak to rock, which is exactly what Glimmora is. Okay, so, you know, you have that going for you. Just in terms of like having something against some of these meta threats. And then if you just even consider Tornadus on some of this stuff, like again, what is Tornadus doing to Glimmora? Not a whole lot, right? I'll tell you what it's doing. It's going to drop. It's going to be doing a lot of dropping to Glimmora Meteor Beam. And if you know in open team sheets, they just don't have Protect, right? For example, if they have Tailwind, Bleak Wind Storm, you know, Rain Dance, and then something like Taunt, which is a very common set, this is an easy Meteor Beam target. Like, they're forced to switch. But then whatever switches in is taking a Meteor Beam. Like, even if it's resisted, like, I'm still getting this +1 boost, which is more valuable next turn, you know, assuming Glimmora stays on the field, right? So the whole idea is because you're getting so much damage out of this power of Meteor Beam, now what you can do is save yourself some extra EVs and start investing in your bulk. So this way Glimmora can stay on the field and keep dealing damage and alternate with spiky shields. So this way, you know, that poison damage will have a chance to really take effect, right? So, you know, again, against the rest of this stuff, like Glimmora is looking really good. And then even stuff like, for example, look at Landorus, right? You know, Landorus does a ton into Glimmora. Like, it exerts pressure right back. However, that being said, like, if you can outspeed this Landorus with, you know, your own speed control mons, like, Meteor Beam is just picking up this Landorus, okay? Like, I can even show you that calc in a second. And then if you even just consider Incineroar, right? Like, you know, even though Incineroar is not as common or dominant as we thought it would be in Regulation F, like, Incineroar is still a pretty high usage mod within the top 10, okay? Like, it's just not like top 3. But that being said, you know, if you just go here into the damage calc, I'm just gonna go modest here. I'll start spoiling the EVs a little bit. So here we go. Modest 76 is what I like to do with this kind of Glimmora this time around. So modest 76, right? Look at Incin. Like, let's put Assault Vest Incin. That has been like the featured Incin, you know, that's rising a little bit. Like, you know, it's gonna have a lot of SpDef. It's gonna survive like, you know, Earth Power Landorus stuff. But then look at this. 76 modest, even with this Assault Vest, it's doing so much. It's still picking up. Okay, you're basically forcing the Incineroar to terrestrialize if it wants to live, right? And let's say if it wasn't AV, for example, let's say if it was like a super bulky careful set, right, with 230, like I can even go 252 and then just go 156, right, the second benchmark there. Like, this is still, like, that's even worse, right, for example, right, because the Assault Vest was even better. Incin is just not taking this. No fire type is taking this, okay? And then, you know, if you just look at freaky, what's that thing called? Landorus, okay? Landorus, even though it's like quote unquote neutral, like, it's still dropping, okay? Like, again, look at this. Meteor Beam 76 investment just drops the Landorus. Like, again, you have to outspeed it, which we can definitely do with some of the tools that we're going to put on this team, okay? But, like, again, Glimmora looking really good in the meta right now. And then all of a sudden now you start adding Earth Power for the Steel types. Then you add Sludge Bomb you know, for a lot of the Flutter Manes, especially if they want to go Terra Fairy, for example. And now all of a sudden Glimmora with Terra Grass is looking really good in terms of move coverage against a lot of the different meta threats. So that being said, how exactly can I build with Glimmora? Well, I'm definitely going to need some speed on it. So I think just putting it with something like Tornadus is just going to make a lot of sense here. But then the question is, where else can I go from here? If you want to make this survive on the field, like I think you do need an Intimidate option here. Like we can invest a little bit of EVs in Spidef, but if we can keep reducing physical damage, then the Glimmora is just going to keep absorbing those hits, and then it's just going to keep racking up Toxic Spike damage. And then first of all, it's going to deter the physical damage anyway, because people don't really want to hit Glimmora with those attacks. They're going to want to bring their special attackers, you know, in that sense. And then you can kind of play your way around that. And we can show you how to do that, okay? But in terms of, you know, team composition, where else can I go with this Glimmora team? So let's go ahead and let's take a look at Lab Mouse. Let's see some of the best Glimmora teams that are not Dondozo related. Let's see. All right, so we're back here on the Lab Mouse website. By the way, Lab Mouse, great resource right now for, you know, in terms of getting inspiration for team building. And what I've been able to do with this section of the Lab Mouse website is, you know, I've been able to choose Glimmora here, but I've also been able to use this exclude function, which allows me to look at Glimmora teams that don't have Dondozo, right? Because that's what I'm interested in. So you can even do that as well, besides including, right? So if I click search, all right, and the date is like from the, you know, January 1st up until now, and then I get a list of some of the best teams that have been able to use Glimmora in some of these tournaments. So let's look at this first one. So this is actually a really, really good way to use it. So this one was from the Mouse Tour, 1 year anniversary tour. So here's Glimmora Tornadus, like we said. There's the set that we talked about, and here is Ogerpon-Wellspring with Intimidate from Hisuian-Arcanine, which is still good right now. And then you have Urshifu Dark instead, right? So people have gone away from the Urshifu Rapid Strike a little bit, opted for the Wellspring to counter that, and then just kept an Urshifu on their team with Urshifu Single Strike just to help the Iron Crown matchup, right? And then you have Flutter Mane, you know, for more special attack damage, and then here's the Hisuian-Arcanine. If you just look at this team, you know, look, Flutter, Arcanine, Urshifu, Tornadus, this is like a typical hyper-offensive regulation D core, right? And then, you know, even though this is the Single Strike Urshifu, but now you add the Water type with Ogerpon, and then you just slap on Glimmora, okay? So this is one way to really, really consider it, okay? This one over here, your Tailwind option is coming from Latias instead. So Dragon Fairy Steel Core with Latias, Metagross, and Clefairy. And the Clefairy with Friend Guard just makes everything super bulky, right? So Glimmora definitely will enjoy the redirection coming from the Clefairy here. And then it just becomes super bulky in general just because, look, now you have Intimidate and Friend Guard. So Glimmora is able to just stay on this field and start racking up big damage, right? And then you still have the Ogerpon-Wellspring over here to give you a second redirector here. So this is also pretty cool from Bridger Snow. This was his Portland team. So, you know, great job to him. All right, or Rayquaza. So instead of something like Incin or even Hisuian-Arcanine, what about Entei? Entei can do that job too. And instead of Ogerpon-Wellspring, let's split that up into separate water and grass entities. Let's have Amoonguss and let's have Urshifu Rapid Strike. And forget about the Tailwind stuff. Let's just keep it balanced and just add Chien-Pao and, you know, of course, slap on the Flutter Mane here. So again, 3 priority Pokemon here with Chien-Pao, Ursh, and Entei. You have a Fire, Water, Grass core here with Entei, Urshifu, and Amoonguss. And then Chien-Pao just makes itself, Entei, and Urshifu do more damage. And then here's your special attack damage from Flutter Mane and Glimmora, right? So you can definitely lead stuff like, you know, for, you know, again, Glimmora is weak to Urshifu Rapid Strike. So you can even lead Amoonguss, Glimmora, just redirect those hits and then start clicking Meteor Beams or start clicking Sludge Bombs and Earth Powers, for example, right? And then from there, just rely on your priority stuff in the back to clean things up. So that's something that you can definitely consider, you know, with this. Another great way to utilize it. How about Izumi's team? I think this is the same as Deckham's team up there. Yeah, I think it is. So this one is also similar to Bridger's, but instead of the Metagross, we have the Registeel there. So that's also pretty good. So this is Nora's team from Portland. So that's also, again, something that we've discussed earlier, but yeah. And this one is the same kind of core as Deckham's team over there, but instead we have the Entei as opposed to Incineroar or even Hisuian-Arcanine. So Snarl support is going to be good. So I would imagine something like this, you know, you invest in some physical, like a lot of HP, some you know, physical defense EVs, and then Snarl will help you, you know, take special, you know, the attacks better, because that's what you're going to be getting hit, or at least getting tried to be hit most, because nobody really wants to use the physical damage against the Glimmora. So Snarl is going to be a great in helping it stay on the field, as is the redirection from the Ogerpon, like we said. So this is Nader's team. It's pretty good. Yeah, 8-2, right? And then you can just simply just go with like Dragonite, Chien-Pao, Entei stuff of your own, slap on Ogerpon, and then add the Flutter Mane and the Glimmora. So that's also really, really good. That's been successful thus far. Winter Knight's team looks like Nora's team. I think it's the same. And Isaac's team is also the same as Nader's team. It's just, again, maybe potentially different sets. But you can see, like, again, all these teams, like, they have a very, very familiar and solid core. Oh, this one with Raging Bolt. Let's look at this one. So 6-3 result at Portland. Again, here's the Chien-Pao, Entei, and Ogerpon. No Urshifu here. But you have Raging Bolt with the AV set, and then Glimmora and Flutter Mane here as well. So this is also pretty good. Just again, another option in terms of how you want to run it. But you can definitely see a lot of these Latias Registeel teams, right? And that was all from Nora, I think. Okay, and then from here, where else do we want to go? Like, there's a lot of good Glimmora teams that are just not even Dondozo related. This one has Rillaboom. That's also interesting. But I think we got the sense of it in terms of like what we want out of this team. So basically, you've got you know, again, Flutter Mane. All right, you've got your Ogerpon-Wellspring. I feel like this is exactly what we want. And then from here, we'll have the Urshifu Single Strike, which is, again, great into, you know, a Tailwind Tornadus team in general. It's great against Iron Crown teams. And then from here, it's just all about choosing your fire type. I feel like, do you want Incineroar? Do you want Entei? Or do you want Hisuian-Arcanine? Okay, these are all great options. And then even technically, you know, you can even just go with the Chi-Yu route here as well. So now Chi-Yu is going to let Flutter Mane do even more damage here, okay? And then it'll also help Glimmora deal more damage, right? And then the physical damage is going to come from the Urshifu and the Ogerpon. So you can even run it like this if you really wanted to. And that could be scary, right? When you have all this special attack damage. And again, these three have been used before on the same team along with Tornadus. So it's not something that I'm inventing out of the blue. I'm just doing past research and remembering, like, this is what a successful core looked like, you know, back towards the Regulation D and Regulation C formats. So you can definitely do this. But all in all, for me, I think I actually just want Intimidate on this team, because then I can get Redirection, I can get Intimidate on the team. So it's down to Hisuian-Arcanine and Incineroar. And on teams like this, where you want to be like super aggressive and hit hard, I think it just makes sense to have the Hisuian-Arcanine, just in my opinion, just in terms of the way I want to play this. So I still get my Fire, Water, Grass core here. And what's also really good with the Ogerpon here is you can support the Glimmora and the Arcanine here with against the Urshifu, just because of Water Absorb. So there's some good synergy there. And then again, Intimidate just makes the whole team relatively bulky in terms of physical defense, especially Flutter Mane, right? When you have a Flutter Mane, you definitely want Intimidate on your team. So this way you can really take advantage of this high special defense and then this lack of physical defense, and then just add Intimidate here. And then from there, the Flutter just, you know, can become a relatively bulky Pokemon. All right, so this is how we're going to build our Glimmora team that is not Dondozo inspired. So let's go ahead and let's go back to our EVs here. So with Glimmora and a modest set, I just want to make it like super bulky. We can easily just go Timid 252, 252. I think that's okay on a Tornadus Tailwind team. But because we're modest here, I kind of want to go slow and bulky here. So I'm just going to go 252 HP. You know, give itself some longevity here, especially with these toxic debris racking up. And then for speed tier, you can just easily go 120 investment, right? But, you know, again, after an Icy Wind from a Flutter Mane, which is exactly what we're going to have, you know, with that Icy Wind speed drop, we're going to outspeed the max speed Tornaduses that are, you know, timid nature, because they're going to have a 179 investment. Not 179 investment, 179 speed stat. So to speed creep, let's go to 121 here. And then after this, you know, we already have Intimidate on the team, so that'll be okay for physical bulk. Let's just dump the rest here into special defense bulk. And that's really all I want for Glimmora, at least in terms of a starting set. Tornadus here, I like Bull Tornadus. I've always been a fan of Bull Tornadus. You know, and if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know I like a slow, bulky Torn. Some of you guys have, you know, have your own personal complaints like, oh, I'm getting outsped every game. Stop leading Tornadus into the mirror. Okay, that's all I got to tell you. If you know you're the slower Torn, stop bringing it. Okay, or stop leading with it. You know, finish in the end game with it. Okay, that's how I like to play my Torn. Okay, but that being said, again, with the Bull Tornadus, again, you want to give this a good roll or at least good survivability against Searching Strikes Urshifu. So I just think hitting the benchmark here at 236 is enough. Again, this is all about the EV bumps. And if you don't know what EV bumps are and you're trying to play competitive Pokemon and trying to get better at team building, you know, you got to understand EV bumps. And if you don't know what they are, comment in the videos below and then I will explain to you what are EV bumps. So ask the question, what are EV bumps, and I will give you a definition so this way you can understand and, you know, better build teams with that fundamental idea. Anyway, so after this, I kind of just want to go to about 141 here so I don't speed time my Hisuian-Arcanine. I am going to go max speed Adamant here. That being said, so 142. So let me just undercut him by 141 and that'll be okay. And then literally just dump the rest into HP like this. So right there, that's all I really need out of my Bull Tornadus for to say. And then if anything, you can even just take this away and just go right here in HP like this. And this is totally fine. Like, this Tornadus is not meant to do damage. Okay, we're just meant to be super bulky here. Rocky Helmet. Okay, and then you can go Terra Steel here or Terra Ghost. Either way, it's totally fine. I'm gonna go Taunt. And then I'm just going to go Protect here. And again, the Bull Tornadus idea is just meant to, you know, stay on the field, have longevity, click the occasional Bleak Wind Storm. Okay, but again, you will be the slower Torn in most cases. So just be scouting for that. Flutter Mane here, Choice Specs. Okay, always good on Tailwind teams. You know, very standard Flutter set with Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball, and Icy Wind here. So another form of speed control, and Terra Fairy here is what we want. And I've always been using the same Flutter set. Again, it's just to survive the Adamant Chien-Pao stuff. So I'm still going to go Timid. You know, and again, speed creep the modest max speed Flutter. So I'm going to go to 189 here. And then 116, 196 is my damage calc to survive the Adamant Chien-Pao attacks. And then the remainder just goes into special attack like this. All right. Ogerpon-Wellspring. So, you know, again, Adamant 252, 76 for the benchmark there. The 108 investment here. I'm sorry, 100 investment here. This is for the Dragonite E-Speed stuff. And then just rounding it out here with your last bit of set here. And then if anything, I wanted to speed creep, so this will still give me that calc for 6.3% chance roll, and then just have a little bit of speed here. But again, don't try and speed tie your own monster. Here's 141, here's 142, so you can easily just make this about 140, right? And then that will be okay. So 140, 141, 142. So don't speed tie your own mons. And then now this can just go just like one more point in defense like that. So again, Ivy Cudgel, Horn Leech, that's Horn Attack, Horn Leech, okay, then Follow Me, and then Spiky Shield, right? This should do it. All right, then the Hisuian-Arcanine. So I just go, I'm going Choice Band here. I'm going damage, all right, and then I'm just gonna go 196 investment to hit that benchmark there. 44 and 4, right? This is all there's left, and then just 12 points in Spidef. All right, so then it's just gonna be Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, of course. Your extreme speed for at least some priority for yourself, and then just simple head smash here. And you know, you can go the Terra Fairy, Terra Blast route. I don't think it's as necessary this time around in Regulation E for Hisuian-Arcanine. And I think just going Terra Normal with E speed is just totally fine here. But oh, that's Fusion Flare. How did that work? Wait, how did that work? Okay, there we go. Flare Blitz, Rock Slide. Let me just check the others just to make sure I don't make another boo-boo like I did in the other video. Sludge Bomb, Earth Power. Okay, that's good. All right, this one, Focus Sash. Very standard here. Okay, Wicked Blow, Close Combat. All right, Sucker Punch, and Detect or Protect. Whichever one you prefer. Either way, it don't matter to me. Terra Dark here. Now, that being said, if you find yourself not bringing the Tornadus a lot, you can just put Chien-Pao here and just have all these things do extra damage. It's totally fine. Jolly is the way to go. Yeah, we can go 176 just to optimize the Rillaboom. Grassy Terrain Recovery. We have no Rillaboom, but if the opponents do bring a Rillaboom, let's at least optimize for it. But this is it. So like again, just another quick, easy team to make. Again, just that can really do well with Glimmora here. We have grass, we have steel, fairy, water, go. And again, you can go steel. You can also go ghost. It's really up to you how you want to play this. But you can definitely go steel here. Even ghost. I'll leave it at ghost. If you want steel, you can definitely do steel here. And again, the whole advantage of Terra Ghost is to not necessarily the fake out, because you have protect for that. It's just for the extreme speed shenanigans from Dragonite and the other Entei, right? So let's put this in a paste. All right, and now what we can do is let's test it in a few games, and let's just see how it plays out. All right, he's got the Trick Room stuff with Furrygraph, and there's the Araquanid. So Araquanid's a pretty cool mod. And then he's got the priority stuff of his own with Entei, Chien-Pao, and he's got a Tailwind variant too with Whimsicott and Flutter Manes. So I don't particularly like this kind of building. I rather just focus on making one of the modes strong. I can see he's got a Tailwind mode, and then he's got the Trick Room mode here. I'd rather just go full Trick Room mode and just support the Furrygraph and the Araquanid a little bit more. But that being said, all right, we're going to simply just lead relatively standard. Let's go with the Glimmora stuff. I think that's pretty good. So here's Glimmora, and here is the Arcanine. So we get to Intimidate a lot of his options right now. Now, I kind of have to guess here. I thought he would go for the Arcanine. He actually goes for the Glimmora instead, maybe not wanting the damage to rack up from the Glimmora over time. So I do lose it here. I was going to Terra Grass, but I did the Arcanine at the last second just because I want to get a little bit more value out of it. So here's the Urshifu. So now this is okay because we can just protect, and we can just also click Rock Slide here. He protects his Araquanid too. Kind of funny in front of an Urshifu. That would have been just straight kill because again, Rock Slide kills the Whimsicott. We could have just punched this Araquanid. But he goes into Chien-Pao here. So now he's poisoned. He's going to lose his Sash here. So he goes Sacred Sword and removes my Arcanine there. He actually crits it, but that's still fine. But we just punched the Araquanid, and now we're kind of chilling. And the Chien-Pao has lost his Sash. And now we bring in Flutter Mane here to finish the job. He brings in Entei, and who's also poisoned. So we survive Ice Spinner. This is why we go bulky Flutter Mane. He didn't double tap, which I think he should have done. That probably would have just won in the game because, again, the Chien-Pao survives, and we don't even kill the Entei anyway, right? So now he just dies because now he can't do the 2-on-1. So our opponent kind of threw there by not double tapping the Flutter Mane there, but all in all, I did get turn 1 wrong, so that's on me, but we still were able to pull that one out. So this one is like even more priority stuff with Dragonite, Chien-Pao, and then he's got Instant, Flutter, and Ogerpon. So Firewater Grass Core there, along with 2 special attackers with Lando and Flutter Mane. So again, pretty standard stuff, but again, Glimmora looking really good in the lead here, along with Ogerpon to just redirect everything. There's the Lando, and there's his own Ogerpon. So things look really interesting. I just want to see what he does. So I go Spiky Shield in his Glimmora, and he goes Earth Power, all right, which is fine. I go Ivy Cudgel, and he respects that, and he clicks Follow Me. So now I have to go Terra Grass here. So I'm going for it, right? There's the Follow Me. He clicks Earth Power into the Ogerpon. That's fine. But now we just go Power Meteor Beam. So it's not going to go into the land. It's going to go into him instead. He tanks it, which is great. All right. And then he goes Terra Poison, Spiky Shield there. I'm not going to attack that. So he removes my Ogerpon. So that's good on him. But now he protects it. So he baits me into doing that. That's good for him. But now Flutter Mane comes in. We click Icy Wind. We slow down the landers. And now we can outspeed it with a simple Earth Power, which is exactly what we do, right? +1 Earth Power. Very, very strong. All right, and there's the Chien-Pao, and there is Dragonite, which Flutter Mane can do very well against. You can't E-Speed it. He goes E-Speed into the Glimmora, right? There's our Toxic Debris, which doesn't even matter at this point. But again, I could have even clicked Dazzling Gleam. All right, so this is another interesting thing. But again, we survive another Chien-Pao Ice Spinner. We just Sludge Bomb the Chien-Pao next turn, and that's pretty much all she wrote because this Dragonite can't really do anything. So I could have also clicked Dazzling Gleam there, understanding that he can't Terra anymore. So that would have also done well. But again, I can't do it because I was also locked into Icy Wind the previous turn. So still, we had options in the back. So I was still totally fine with clicking Icy Wind onto the Lando because then I actually pick up the kill and I get rid of that threat first. And then after that, Dragonite, Chien-Pao, they can't do anything to Flutter. We live the Ice Spinner stuff. So this is a pretty interesting Iron Crown team. It's actually very standard. The only thing he did was remove Tornadus for his Ariados. I don't know what Ariados is supposed to do here, but I'm going to show him that that's a mistake. And we're going to bring our Tornadus and just show him why Iron Crown needs the speed control. So here we go. He goes Urshifu Rapid Strike and he goes Ariados here. That could have been just Ogerpon in all honesty. But here's Torn, here's Ursh, here's the Dark Ursh. Alright, and Ariados gets Follow Me, right? I'm sorry, it gets Rage Powder. So we have to just punch it. And we do that. Now he does chip me with the Rocky Helmet. And Surging Strikes is going to be able to pick up this KO here because he Terra Watered. And at the time when I was testing, this was actually a Calm Tornadus instead of a Bold one. So who knows what he could have had. But everything's chipped. So now here comes Ogerpon. He's in trouble. Rage Powder's not going to do anything. We just punch that. All right. And now Ogerpon under Tailwind is going to outspeed the Ursh. We're going to click Horn Leech and we're going to chill here. And now he's going to bring in the patented Intimidate Iron Crown combination. Now this is the boon. This is the boon of that archetype. Ogerpon special defense boost does not take that much damage from this duo. So, you know, all we have to do is just punch this Indeedee, which we do. So there you go. Good job, Dark Ursh. And now we just bop the Iron Crown on the head and we outspeed it anyway. So you see how valuable Tornadus is. Tachyon Cutter, yes, it does remove it. But look, we go into Arcanine here and he can't do anything against a fire type. So we're pretty much done. He clicks Protect. All right, he will outspeed us, but he can't outbulk us, right? Because both of our mons, especially the Ogerpon, is bulky. So Expanding Force, if he crit, he would have picked up the Arcanine, but he would not have picked up the Ogerpon. And then Ogerpon was going to clean it up anyway. So, you know, Side Spam means Tornadus. All right, so hopefully our opponent learned that lesson. All right, so there's the pace one more time. So, you know, again, Glimmora looking pretty good there. Again, you could lead it with Ogerpon-Wellspring. You could lead it with Hisuian-Arcanine. You can even lead Tornadus with it as well. Torn, Arcanine, Torn, Urshifu are very, very good leads. Even Flutter Manes with Tornadus just deal a ton of damage early on. But if you don't lead the Glimmora, I can't imagine you leading it at all. So if you're going to bring it, you better count on it to lead with it, because that's where you're going to get its most value. Like, you're not going to get Toxic Debris value when you bring it in the back, because there's no time for the poison to rack up against the opponent, right? So you want them to switch out of the Urshifu Wicked Blow stuff, right? Because then when they do switch, then the Toxic Spike starts chipping in and they get poisoned. You break Sash and then you're in good business. So again, you got Intimidate, you got Redirection, you got Speed Control here, you got Taunt Denial over here as well, and you got a Breaker with Urshifu and or Flutter Mane. And you know, you have a lot of protects here. You got 1, 2, 3, you got 4 protects, right? You have 1 specs item and you have 2 choice items. So that's pretty good as well. So you can definitely, you know, maneuver around with your repositioning, especially with Intimidate and Redirection with the Ogerpon going here. All right, so give this one a go. Let us know how you do. Again, we're still in the process of the Charlotte Regionals. Day 2 is upon us. So afterwards, when Charlotte is all said and done, and when the meta looks a little different, all right, then planning for Knoxville will begin. And that, if that is something you're interested in, make sure you sign up on the channel for coaching. Tier 3 sub gets you a one-on-one Discord call with me, where you can, you know, hash out a team with me. We can build it together and sort out the EVs. And then from there, get you that team that you need to be able to compete. Or if you just need something for ladder, or if you just need something for another online tournament instead of a regional, we can help you with that as well. All right, we'll be back with another video in the next one, guys. Peace out and have a good one.